So I've been in a rabbit hole of fascinating mouse experiments, and this one really caught my attention. Here's what we can learn from Tryon's rat experiment, where scientists tried to breed intelligence, not in humans yet, but in rats. And the results were terrifyingly convincing. In the 1940s, psychologist Robert Tryon placed rats in a maze with a reward at the end, usually cheese. Naturally, some of them zipped through the obstacles, barely making any mistakes, while the others fumbled like they have never smelled cheese before. But here's where it gets interesting. Tryon separated the bright rats, as he called them, from the dull rats. The bright rats continued breeding with one another, and so did the dull ones. Generation after generation, the gap grew wider, and by the 7th generation, the bright rats ran the mazes like pros, while the dull ones failed miserably. And it looked like intelligence was heritable, that you could literally engineer smart rats, and possibly humans. But was it really intelligence? Critics argue that the bright rats just had better eyesight, or were calmer or less anxious. In other words, the experiment wasn't breeding genius, it was breeding traits that looked like intelligence. Traits that specifically made maze solving better. Maybe the dull rats were physically stronger or excelled at nurturing their young. So what can we learn from this? Eradicate all dull people. Just kidding. In fact, I don't even know if the word dull is the right word to use, because the definition of bright and dull differs largely based on the game we're in. For the rats, whoever solved the maze fastest was considered bright. For us humans, it's whoever has the biggest house or the nicest car, unfortunately. But I wouldn't consider a talented stonemason or a grandmaster chess player dull, even if he doesn't have a big house. So yes, breeding does pass on good genes, but I think good genes are defined by the systems we are in and the games we choose to play. If anything, this experiment proved that we do inherit the traits of our ancestors. Let me know if that makes sense, or if I'm just smoking copium. Now get out of my sight, you dull rat.